Bam! What's up, everybody? What's going on, man?
What's up?
What's up? Yes, man. We are live on YouTube. How's everybody doing today, man? How's everybody doing, man? What's up, everybody? That was on the other screen. On the other screen, man. What's up, Craig, man? What's going on?
I'm tired, man. I'm going back, man. Being back to work every day, man, is rough.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm trying to get used to that still. Traffic is horrible.
Back. Traffic is back, yeah. I've been on the road. It's
what it is.
It's back. Mo, what's up, Mo?
Too much, man. What's going on?
Going on. And then we got Corey. Of course, Corey. How's everything doing, man?
Doing good.
All right. So we're gonna start off with this topic today, but it's some other news. So the Lakers were on a roll, and since the trade deadline, we were 4-1, guys. I was very quiet. Oh, 4-2. Yep, that's correct. We just lost. I was very quiet, but a very quiet optimism for my team. But now Anthony Davis is out again. And the most important game, I wasn't surprised we lost to the Grizzlies. I get that. But they have a higher seed than us. But the next game, OKC, is very important because we don't have a good seed. LeBron James is out with a foot injury. We don't know when he's coming back. Now AD is sidelined. So we had a question if the Lakers still make the playoffs. At this point, no. We're not going to make the playoffs, and I think next year, fortunately, we probably going to have to trade AD. That's just going to have to be what it is. That's probably what's going to happen. We probably got to reshape the whole roster. This is like the third time LeBron has come down with another injury. So I mean, I don't think we're going. LeBron's on a contract next year. I don't think they do any more extensions, but I think AD is. I think they're gonna have to part ways with AD, and another team will pick them up. But I don't think the Lakers are gonna make the playoffs this year, and we don't have any draft capital, so we're in a bad spot. Kind of one of those things that it happens when you say F them picks. Cool. Gotcha. Heard. Yeah, so it sucks. It sucks as a Lakers fan, man. But we'll be back. I just don't know when, and it's definitely not this year. Craig, what you think?
I think they can make the play-in just because between fourth place and which is the Suns, and 13th place, which is.
Thank you for that, Craig. You give me a little hope. Thank you. So,
I mean, I think they have one of the easiest schedules left to go in the regular season. And like I said, between fourth place and 13th place, there's only like a 4.5 game difference. So, which is crazy because fourth and 13th, you look in the East, fourth and seventh is 5 games difference. So, I mean, it just shows how close these teams are in the Western Conference, and any like couple game stretch, like a nice week stretch, you can go from 4th to 7th, 8th, who knows? So the Lakers, I think, obviously Anthony Davis is going to be out tonight. He's going to be back eventually, probably before LeBron. They have after this game coming up against OKC, who they lost to a couple of weeks ago, I believe. After this game come up against them, they have a lot of home games in a row, like 5. So home was where you pretty much get a lot of your wins. So they're playing some tough teams, obviously some teams that are in their way, and they're playing a couple teams in the East that are trying to get to the playoffs as well, or trying to make some noise in the playoffs. So they have a chance just because the West is so wide open. It's just going to be if Anthony Davis can come back and be healthy, and the guys that they traded for. I know D'Angelo's out again, which is unfortunate. And what's the guy's name? Rui, Vanderbilt, Schroeder, Reed. Like they have guys that are capable of leading the team or being a threat. You seen what Vanderbilt did the other day. So
Austin Reeves is playing well too. I like him.
Yeah, so I mean they have competent players. Is obviously when you don't have LeBron and Anthony Davis and even D'Angelo Russell, guy that can get his own shot. You don't have those three guys, or at least two of those guys. It's going to be way more difficult to do anything. Pretty much every game here on out is it's the Lakers. So I mean, the Lakers have all this hype about them anyway. So this is like a must-win for them anyway pretty much for the rest of the season. Yeah. And if LeBron's only out for like 2 weeks, he comes back 2 weeks. I guess would be the best case scenario. He'll be back probably for that first road game against, I think they play Houston or Pelicans. The Pelicans.
Yeah, they play the Pelicans.
So that'll be the best case scenario. I mean, if it goes beyond that, obviously looking at some more tough teams that are in their way or that can probably stop them from making the playoffs or whatever it is. But I think they have a chance, man. I just think it's like I don't believe in the Jazz. They just lost last night to the Spurs, who had lost 16 games in a row. I mean, the NBA regular season is fickle anyway. You just never know what's going to happen. But I mean, the Jazz, the Pelicans still don't have Zion. They're struggling. They went from like at one point they were like third or something early in the season, and now they're under 500. The Timberwolves don't have Karl Anthony Towns. He should be back soon. Yeah. Dallas is struggling with Kyrie and
they are, which is crazy.
And Luka, they haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
The Clippers are still trying to figure out. I mean, they haven't been good. Maybe if they get Russ, they may be signing him. Steph comes back for the Warriors soon.
Oh, which one? The Clippers did. They signed him.
They signed him already? Okay, cool. So maybe
during the Nuggets loss. So the Nuggets beat the Clippers in overtime, and Russ didn't play in the fourth quarter or overtime.
I mean, it's going to be long pains for that team. I mean, he has to trust I ain't gonna say trust the process, but he has to trust what's going on in LA because Kawhi's still coming back. He's not 100%, and Paul George, he's missed some games. Like those two guys have been out for a while, and obviously you got Golden State with Steph and Wiggins, and the Suns. They're just getting KD back tonight, who's going to be on a minute restriction. So, but they should be at least ascending. But I mean, the Lakers have more than enough talent to make a run here, especially with some of these teams that. I mean, they're only a game back of the Pelicans for 10th place. So, coming up in a couple of weeks, it's going to be a very important game for them.
Yeah. All right, Mo. What do you think the Lakers? You think the Lakers with LeBron out? You think they still got a chance?
I mean, they got a chance. I mean, because of their talent, because the West, especially the bottom half of the West, been so up and down and so inconsistent. They got a shot. It's going to be tough. But they got a shot. I mean, they got the whole serve. They can't afford to go on like a 4 or 5 game losing streak out of nowhere. If they do that, I think it's going to be over. But I think if they can play 500 ball, kind of hold serve, maybe get LeBron back for maybe the last 5 to 10 games, I think they can get in. But I mean, once they get in the playing game, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But and looking at it, because there's going to be tough teams in that playing game. And even if they get out of that, let's just say they get out of that, I don't see them getting 4 wins off of Denver or even the Grizzlies. I just don't see them getting 4 wins. They can get 1 or 2 because of LeBron and AD. I give them enough smoke because of that and enough respect. But I don't see it. But I see them making at least the playing game at the worst. Let's say at the worst.
If I'm going to leave with this. If they make the play-in and everybody's healthy and they play Memphis, it's going to be – I think it's going to be tough for Memphis. I think it's going to be tough. I think so. But that's a lot of ifs. Everybody has to be healthy. We has to gel. Like that. That's why I'm very doubtful we making it all, but that's just me. It's just looking bleak. But I thank you for your optimism. It's just hard.
I mean, making a play-in versus playoff
Close is different. It's two different things, right? But
I can. I mean,
playing's gonna be tough, man. I don't.
I mean, if you make the play-in and then you play in a team like New Orleans who has Zion back, or a team like Minnesota who has Cat back,
yeah.
Or I Dallas, can see maybe they start figuring it out, but they still end up in the 7th seed, or the Clippers. Man. I mean, I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be that. I'd rather just rip the Band-Aid off now, and won't be surprised.
Just not make the playoff. You don't want to.
I do. I'm just very non-optimistic.
Yeah, I can dig it.
It's got it's kind of like you in Carolina. It's like might be a quick out. You know what I'm saying? So
it's just, yeah.
It's just I'm just speaking honestly, candid about my team. All right, NFL quarterbacks. Corey's here, of course. Let's talk about this. Craig, Lamar Jackson. The Ravens have not reached a contract agreement yet. We're getting different reports. Eric DeCosta came out today and said they want to keep him. The reports are crazy. First, it's a fully guaranteed. Now it's not a fully guaranteed coming out of Lamar's camp. They just want to be closer to a higher guarantee than they were offered. So let me ask you this. Do you think the Ravens would trade him? Do you think he's going to get traded, or do you think they're going to agree on a contract?
I think the Ravens would trade him if the right offer came around. I don't think nobody, unless you're Patrick Mahomes or maybe like Joe Burrow, I don't see too many guys that are not tradable, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson, as great as he is, as talented as he is, I think you could trade him, especially if you wanted to just go in a whole different direction with the new OC that they got, and he wants to do something different than having a running quarterback. It is what it is. I mean, still they need to get wide receivers. That's pretty much what I like, one of the biggest issues. But as far as them, I think they'll trade him? I don't think so. I don't think, because I don't know if anybody's going to make the right offer to them that's going to be enough to entice them to maybe trade at this point. I guess if you were offering a bunch of first-round picks and you were probably high up, that they had a chance to get a good quarterback, one of the quarterbacks coming out this time, or maybe say that quarterback, they're going to be trash next year, you could, like Houston or somebody, you could trade with them for next year's draft pick, and then they're probably going to be getting the kid from USC, Caleb Williams, or somebody like that, or whatever the case may be, or Drake from Carolina. But I just don't see it, man. I just don't see him trading him. I'm assuming they're going to have to figure this out. Clearly, they have to figure something out because he's too valuable for that team, for that franchise, and for that city. But I mean, if the dollar amount is not there, I guess the most you could do is franchise tag him. If you're running out of the time on that franchise tag, if you haven't figured that one out yet. So what happened with guys like Dak Prescott, for example, and that's when the money was lower, the average was lower. Same thing with Kirk Cousins, it was lower back then. It's more higher now. I think he's Lamar. If Lamar is looking for that Deshaun Watson guaranteed, that's not going to happen. It's just not going to. That was a stupid move by Cleveland. That's an outlier by Cleveland as well. Like, I just don't see that happening.
Their cap hit next year is atrocious.
I would try to go for something above Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
But lower than Deshaun, and try to agree on something like that if I'm Lamar. The problem is, one of the big problems is that he's negotiating by himself. He doesn't have an agent. So he has to figure out what works best for him, how the money's gonna match up. And everything like that, man. He just has a lot of things going on right there that kind of are not in his favor. Maybe if he had an agent, the agent could work and get a deal done better suited than he can. But at the end of the day, I just don't see him getting traded. Although, like I said, the offer, if it has to be really, really, really enticing, but I think they're gonna find a way to figure this out, and he's gonna end up back in Baltimore.
All right, Mo, Lamar Jackson, you think the Ravens trade him?
No. But I think I can see them at this rate because you was gonna franchise tag him if you were serious, it would have got done. I see them kind of playing hardball to call teams bluff. I think it was Matt Hasselback or somebody said a scenario where they wouldn't be surprised of let's call you bluff to see if teams would really jump out there to offer 2 number ones. Let's see if teams will offer him. Let's see if teams they would do the non-exclusive tag to see if teams what is the market for him. Like what would teams offer him?
That's
like,
gonna be telling. If they offer him the exclusive, I think it's gonna be telling what tag they offer. Yeah, I agree with you.
So it would look like now it would look like okay, let's call your bluff. Let's see what teams will really offer you there. Now we can match it. So let's see what teams are going to offer you. What is the market for you like? So if a team throws an offer out there, they can match it. And if they don't match it, what team is really willing to give up 2 number ones? So I think I can see Baltimore either playing a bluff or getting a contract done. I can see also the exclusive, but if I was them, I would either get a deal done or do the non-exclusive tag and see what is out there and see because you've been playing long enough now, you might as well. But one thing that could do is that can make the relationship real messed up there. If they play if they play ball like that, I can see kind of the relationship being real strange there because, and another thing, I think I was just reading it before we came on there. If they give them the franchise tag, they can't they're going to be basically flat out hurting. They won't be able to add nothing there unless it's a draft. They won't be able to add any decent receiver or starting corner to that roster if they give them the exclusive tag for what it's going to be worth. They basically their cap will basically be dried out with Lamar, and they basically won't be able to help them. They won't be able to help them. It'd be like, okay, we're bringing you back, but what do we have to offer you there that's on that roster, except for what's on the roster right now? They won't be able to bring in nothing decent, just to say that.
Corey, what do you think? You think the Ravens trade him?
I think Craig was spot on in that if the Ravens got a big enough offer, they would. I don't think they do. I think Lamar and Chicago are in a little bit similar situations in that this is a bad offseason for their scenario. We'll get into Chicago being having a rough year to have the number 1 pick. I think Lamar hitting this stage of potential free agency is rough just because there's so many quarterback options this offseason. You have 4, maybe 5 quarterbacks that could go in the first round in the draft this April.
Here 5.
You've got
here 5.
Yeah, I think Hendon Hooker could definitely sneak into the back of round 1.
I've heard him. He's doing Jordan Palmer's training him and Will Levis. He says that he might push into the first round.
Yeah. So you have all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've still got guys like Carr, Rodgers, and Garoppolo that are on the free agent market. Well, Rodgers you have to trade for, but are on the market and available.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking for a quarterback, there's actually a number of avenues to go. So a team may not be as desperate to trade, the house to get Lamar. I'm also I'm not sure who trades for him. I disagree that if he had an agent, it would help this process because Roquan Smith just got a massive contract from the Ravens that set the market at his position without an agent as well. So I don't think that the agent matters quite as much. I think Lamar is asking for more money based on the previous deals that were done. And yeah, Cleveland screwed up and threw a boatload of money at Deshaun Watson. And it was probably a mistake, but they did it. You're worth what the market pays. Well, the market just paid Deshaun Watson X amount of dollars. Had Baltimore just bit the bullet and done this deal a year or 2 ago, they wouldn't be in this situation. And that leads to a whole other conversation of why teams keep screwing up and putting deals off. But looking around, there's no way Baltimore would trade him within the AFC. So you look at teams like the Texans or Colts or Titans or anything like that, none of them are on the table. And you look at the NFC, I would normally say Washington would pull the trigger on something crazy like that. but not with the sale happening and that holding pattern and potential removal of Snyder if he doesn't sell and all of that.
They're so messy. So messy.
Yeah. So I think there's 3 teams that maybe, like Carolina, maybe, but they're in a position to draft one. So I don't know that they would necessarily do it. The Saints, if they miss out on Carr, I think could be interested in Lamar. Because they have more of a win now posture. And I think if Detroit feels like they're in a position to make a run in their division, that would be an interesting location for him.
Mm.
And they definitely have the draft ammunition to go get him and it not set them back. But
good throwing Carr, man, didn't think about that.
Yeah. So it's a bad year for Lamar wanting leverage because it's just not really there right now. So I think something has to give, and he ends up in Baltimore. And it makes too much sense. Sign him to an extension, get it done, and load up for next year.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I don't think they do it. I don't think they trade him because the AFC is loaded with quarterbacks, right? This is exactly what Corey just said, right? You're not going to trade him to the AFC team, right? That's off the table. They're not going to trade him to the Raiders. If he goes to the Raiders with Devontae Adams, it's going to be a problem, right? He's not going to go to the Colts. He's not going to go to they're not going to trade him to the AFC. That's off the table. Now, if he goes to the NFC, there's no quarterback. So, he could actually go to somewhere and dominate for a second, right? Now, here's the thing. We all know Lamar's playing style is probably going to be capped off the way he plays, which I get. Peter King talked to NFL exec, and he made an interesting point. He was like, don't you think Lamar should dial it back? I said, no. If you get 10 years of Lamar Jackson playing like this, you take it. You take it, right? You take it. Yeah. So I think that the Ravens don't have an option because if they trade him, what option is left? You're talking about you're in an AFC conference with Patrick Mahomes, who he has beat during the regular season. He has, right? Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Burrow, who he has beat during the regular season, right? You got Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson. Now just got Sean Payton, so they're probably going to be better, right? I already said Herbert, right? So, and probably Derek Carr. We'll talk about that later. So, like, if you choose to go a route that you don't have a franchise quarterback, you're going to be just like all of our teams, where every year you're scrambling, and then the fan base is going to get very irritated. Because if you send Lamar Jackson to Atlanta or Carolina, they're winning division titles and they make a Super Bowl appearance and they're going to the playoffs every year, is going to look very, very interesting from your point of view. So I think there's no option. Because what do you have? What's your backup plan? They don't have none. I was listening to Amy Trask. If you don't know who she is, she was the Raiders CEO. She's also dealing with the Big Three since the Big Three came involved. I think she's, I don't know her position. She has a real high position. But she was saying, if the Ravens don't sign him, what's their option? You're playing a dangerous game where, listen, the last couple of franchise quarterbacks that weren't franchise quarterbacks in the Super Bowl were Nick Foles and Joe Flacco. And Nick Foles' team built around him, was kind of star-studded. Joe Flacco, that was 10 years ago, 12 years ago, man. You got to have a franchise quarterback the way it's going. So, I don't think they have option. I think right now they're going to decide that he's going to sign a massive contract. It's not all going to be guaranteed. He's gonna sign a huge contract, and he'll be good. That's what I think. Mo, Aaron Rodgers just came from this dark retreat that he spent. I think North Dakota. I think.
It was Oregon, something like that.
Oregon. No, I don't know. Oregon, North Dakota. Anyway, he spent a dark retreat. Said he wanted to get some clarity and some focus, and he's going to let the team know in a couple days. If you're Green Bay, Mo, you trading Aaron Rodgers?
Yes. I mean, I'm just it's me from a sense of, I get some people like you crazy, but you basically, I would say this though. You trade Aaron Rodgers, or you get rid of Love. And I'm gonna tell you why. You've let this man handicap you and basically have you step and fetch for the last 3 years. He basically held you hostage for the last 3 years. And you're letting it go down with no animosity, nothing behind closed doors. The only thing that's happening out of this is Devontae Adams left. Outside of that, have we heard any rumblings over the last 3 years, in-house, in organization, between the coaching staffs, between anybody? Everybody else basically has accepted it. I'm like, if that's what you cool with as an organization, hey, by all means. But my thing is, enough got to be enough, especially with Jordan Love right there. If they let this go by and they don't trade him, and they basically, Aaron Rodgers say, oh, I'll stay one more year, that tells me everything I need to know about how they feel about Jordan Love. I'm sorry. I understand, because I'm gonna be honest with you right now. With that roster, even with Aaron Rodgers playing like he is right now, can they legitimately say they're even the second best team in that division going the next season? We ain't even talking about playoffs. We ain't even talking about playoffs, Super Bowl. We talking about just that division right now. Going to the next season right now, I would say they're the third best team in that division. Clear cut. Even when Aaron Rodgers saying he coming back. That's just me. They're not better than the Lions right now. Right now to me, they're not better than Minnesota right now to me. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's me.
All right. Hey, listen. Corey, you trade Aaron Rodgers?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, I feel like we've been saying it for a couple of years now. Like, Green Bay needs to trade Rodgers. See what you got in Jordan Love. It's time. I know that they're if they would have done it 2 years ago, the fan base probably would have been pissed off, because I think the front office has been kind of over the Aaron Rodgers drama for a couple of years now. But now Rodgers has hit full tilt diva status. And I think the sentiment has shifted enough that I think enough of the fan base is kind of over it as well. And I think that they're perfectly fine with moving on. You know, they appreciate what he's done. I think he replaced Peyton Manning as the best quarterback in the NFL and held that mantle until Patrick Mahomes. Like, he is one of the best of his era. He's been a phenomenal player, but it's time. And if you're the Packers, send him to the AFC, see what you got in Jordan Love, and either you have your franchise quarterback for the next 10, 12 years, or you're going to be in position to draft your franchise quarterback next year. But I think it would be poetic if he ends up getting traded to the Jets, just like Brett Favre. Very, very eerily similar career paths of great quarterbacks becoming divas, getting dealt to New York. But so we'll see what happens. But I do think the Packers are going to do what they can to move him this year.
Man, so this is very interesting. I get it, going to a dark retreat. Sometimes that's what people do. I don't judge it or anything. If that's his process to figure out where he wants to go in life. That's his process. He just let everybody know what he's doing. I guess sometimes I'm different. I just I try to be quiet and let somebody ask. Mike Florio says something very interesting. He said, "There's no way Aaron Rodgers retires this year. He would be in the same retirement class as Tom Brady. That's tough because it's Brady and J.J. Watt at this point. So I don't know if Aaron Rodgers wants to. Maybe he wants to share that. Maybe we'll share the spotlight. But I just think that right now I would probably move on because I think this. I'm with Corey, right? If Aaron Rodgers gets traded, right, to the AFC. Now the Raiders just came out and said they don't want to trade for him. I don't know what Josh McDaniel's doing. But people say a lot of things. I don't believe a word that he says. But if Aaron Rodgers is a trade market, Davis they got the money. They would probably get him. Green Bay knows they can take some of the cap hit. They can afford the cap hit because they have Jordan Love. I kind of think I would go with Love, man. I think I'm into this. I'm a developmental guy, right? I don't like the F the picks approach because it's a short-term, it's like a short-term rental. It's like a 30-day short-term Airbnb rental. It's not buying a home where you built it up from the ground up and you can establish a lot of quality players by draft picks and depth. So when you have a player that needs to move on, you have the depth behind them to replace them. That's me. I'm a Commanders fan. I told y'all I don't want a veteran quarterback. I want to stick with Howell and see where it is. Right? Same with the Packers. I think they should do the same with Jordan Love, man. I think they should keep Jordan Love, trade Aaron Rodgers. And I'm going to be honest, let's not take an NFC team off the table. Let's not take it. Let's not take it because, let's just think, we don't know. We don't know. I've heard, I don't think this would ever happen, but, San Francisco could make a run at them. If you get a 1-year rental of Aaron Rodgers with San Francisco, I would take it. I would take it. You know what I'm saying? With that roster and that defense. But I think so. But if he decides to come back, I just probably would trade him and go with Love. But he has a lot of leverage here, guys. So I don't want to leave just the NFC. The AFC on the table. I think that Green Bay would open it up. And I know Josh McDaniels said the Raiders they're looking to keep their picks, but that's another story. Anyway. All right, Craig, what you think? Are you trading Aaron Rodgers or are you keeping him?
There's really only 2 teams, maybe 3 teams in the AFC that you can trade for him that is going to be willing to take Aaron Rodgers at this point. I don't think teams like the Texans are.
Nope.
I think the teams like the Colts are.
Nope.
I just think it's the Raiders, the Jets, and probably the Tennessee Titans. There's only 3 teams I can see.
And let me tell you something. If he doesn't make a decision in a couple days, I heard the Jets are going to pull for Derek Carr.
Which
makes sense because they don't know what Rodgers is doing.
Right. You have to, if you're the Jets or any of these teams that need a quarterback, I'm looking for a veteran quarterback. Although I heard he's going to probably maybe sign with the Saints. You can't be waiting around for Aaron Rodgers at a certain point. And if I'm Derek Carr, I want to sign as soon as possible because get it over with, and then that way you got to worry about the Aaron Rodgers. Because when Aaron Rodgers said he's going to get traded, or he wants to get traded,
it's going to shut it down.
Derek Carr just goes to the back of the line.
Yeah.
So he might as well
exactly right. Sign as soon as possible.
Get it out the big. Right. Get all the highlights and like people talking about you now because if Aaron Rodgers say he wants to get traded, he's gonna take up all the media attention.
All of it.
But
all of it.
I'm the Packers.
It's tough, man. I'm not gonna lie, it's tough.
Unless you can build around and add some more pieces to that offense, especially wide receiver.
Yeah.
And get some pieces on that defense because their defense wasn't as good. I would, unless you're doing that, I would probably trade them if you can, depending on where you can trade them to and what you can get back for them.
Yeah.
I don't believe in. I mean, I don't believe because I haven't really seen him. But Jordan Love, I don't know what you're going to get from him. I think you just have to be. You have to go into this. If you trade for Aaron Rodgers, you have to go into the season and be patient with Jordan Love.
Yep. Totally agree.
So you can't really try to. Unless he looks like statistically horribly bad, like I don't know. I can't even think of a quarterback who's looked really, really horrible. But like in recent memory. But if you look really, really horrible in your first season to the point where you just don't look competent, you don't have any confidence, and you just can't throw the ball down the field or make accurate passes, then yeah, you're probably going to be picking towards the top of the draft. And then at that point, you can probably go after a Caleb Williams or a Drake May, and go from there and probably try to get what you can from trading Jordan Love. But I think you just have to have patience with him because it's just not going to be an easy road. NFC's wide open, so that's one reason why I can see Aaron Rodgers, them keeping Aaron Rodgers. I just don't. I mean, there's really no, besides the Eagles, I don't really see any. Maybe the 49ers, but their quarterback situation is such a mess. I have no clue what's going to happen there. Obviously, they have really good talent around that spot, but the Packers could be in the running again. So they keep Aaron Rodgers, but
yeah, they could.
So I mean, it's just it's way easier than the AFC to pick like 7 teams that you can think make the playoffs or whatever it is. But I just think that it's just probably time to move on from Aaron Rodgers. And like I said, and like you said, James, I don't rule out the teams in the NFC just because I think he's older now. It's not like younger quarterback that you're probably trading for. That's
not like 3 years ago. You know,
10 years. It's going to be in the conference going against you for 10 years. Whatever. Aaron Rodgers he has probably like another 4 or 5 years left.
Maybe, maybe.
Depends on the right situation. So I could see him saying another 4 or 5 years in the right spot. But it's just going to be like you might not fear him as much as you would say if you were trading like a Joe Burrow in your own conference, something like that. So I'm not too worried about it. Him trading to a team in the NFC. I mean, I don't know who would be willing to. Maybe the Saints or something like that.
Yeah, and then you gotta honor where he wants to go. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's that, right?
Do you? He doesn't have a no trade clause.
He does.
He does?
No, he doesn't. You're right.
So why would you have to honor?
You're right. That is true. That is true. He signed it with a no trade clause.
Wherever you can get the best deal from,
send it.
I would just try to send him. I mean, you want to try to make him happy because he's been such a staple of the franchise for so long, but at the same time, you have to look out for the future of your franchise going forward. And that's getting the best picks possible, even if that's trading them in the NFC. I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Got to do what you got to do. Let me ask you this. Would you take him to Carolina?
Yes.
I mean, you'd be good for 5 years. Yeah.
It depends on what they're giving up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would take Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it's almost, I don't know too many teams that probably wouldn't unless you were just giving up a lot of draft capital and a lot of draft picks.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to cost a bunch against the cap. Then
because Packers probably going to eat some of that.
I'm going to say the Packers should eat some of that.
They're going to eat some of that.
So, I mean, if that's the case, then, I mean.
That's why I don't believe the Raiders. Oh, we're not going to trade for Aaron Rodgers. Shut up. Come on, man.
It's hard to believe in March or
come on, man.
I don't really.
For you coming out and saying that makes me think that you're doing it.
Just let me wait until around June, July, when fantasy football starts back up, training camp starts back up, OTAs, all that stuff starts back up. Then I'll start believing some of this stuff that coaches are saying or the media. For the most part, but it's too early. Right. The draft ain't even happening yet. Free agency,
nothing.
It's happening except for franchise tag stuff and a couple of premature releases / trade.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No.
nah.
Hey, Corey.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm swinging this to you. Derek Carr. He's been mentioned a couple times. Now he's visited the Panthers, Saints, and Jets. They've come out. You know, Frank Reich said today he's talked to them. Robert Salah said talked to him. Obviously, we know the Saints have. These are three teams that we know. We don't, you know, I think those are the only teams he's visited so far, and he has mutual interest. Corey, what team is the best fit for Derek Carr and why? But where do you think he should go? Like, where do you think Derek Carr should go? Because those are three pretty good options.
I honestly was kind of torn on this because I could make arguments for all of them.
Right? Yeah.
From Carr's perspective, I think Carolina, because you would get to pair with Frank Reich, an offensive coach, and being able to pair and work with a really good offensive play caller, I think is something that would be attractive to him, especially after the fiasco of Josh McDaniels the previous season. But I think the Panthers are in position to draft a quarterback, so I don't think it happens.
Mm-hmm.
But look, with the Jets, you've got good young skill position talent. You've got a solid offensive line. You've got a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
But you've also got Zach Wilson sitting there. So I'm guessing if Carr chose the Jets, he would have it worked out that the Jets are agreeing to trade Zach Wilson at some point in the offseason.
Probably.
But with the Saints, you've got some good receiving talent, good defense. Both of those teams, he would have the best defense he's played with in his career. And
Crazy.
The NFC is a lot easier path than the Jets would be in the AFC. But who knows about Alvin Kamara's availability?
With running back, steep running back class.
Yeah, but Alvin Kamara is still a very talented back. He's a very so if he gets suspended for a good chunk of the year,
yeah,
that I feel like that could influence your decision a little bit. But
I got you.
I think because of ease of path, it ends up being the Saints because the division's wide open. There is no favorite right now, I don't think. And
could be for a while. It depends.
Yeah, it all depends on how the quarterback situation shakes out for those four teams.
Because if Atlanta and Carolina draft, and then Derek Carr's in New Orleans, it could take, expectations for draft picks have been expedited to year 2 because of Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. So I don't know how long. I don't know how long they got.
Maybe Tampa Bay shifts some money around and they make a run at Derek Carr.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you get the option of throwing to those two wide receivers. That would be hard to pass up too.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
But I think there's a very, very, very good chance he ends up in the NFC South.
Yeah.
Sorry, Craig.
So here's the interesting thing. Those three teams, you're right, Corey. They're all good fits. You can make a case for all of them. You can, Craig, man. Carolina, off of what was displayed last year, and y'all almost won a division with 3 different quarterbacks, one who's not even on your roster right now, knows that you have a good foundation for a team that if a veteran came in, you have cap space, you have good receivers, you have a good defense, you're going to win the division for a long time. Saints cap space is horrible, man. Atlanta, they don't have a quarterback unless they might go with Ritter, but we don't know. And then Tampa Bay is talking about Trask, but I don't know. So if he goes there, man, and you don't have to give up any picks, and you'll have so many picks, y'all could be really loaded. I'm just saying. The Jets, they're already loaded. They already have a good D. Just like Corey said, y'all know, like Derek Carr, since his, I think all He's been in the league like 9 years. Do you know all of his defense are in the bottom half? Like the 29th and 30th ranked defenses he's been there? Like, so, if he goes to the Jets, the defense is top 5. That's huge.
I think
it's a winnable
20th was the
division.
best defense he's ever had.
20th. That's crazy. And if he goes to the Jets, that division is very winnable, man. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but they can go to the playoffs. But AFC's tough, man. With probably Lamar, Joe Burrow, Wilson's going to be back. Herbert, you don't know Deshaun Watson. It's just tough in the AFC. So, and then the Saints cap space is terrible, but if they are phenomenal with the cap space. But if they can get Cameron Jordan to restructure his deal, which he already shouted out Derek Carr on Instagram, come to the Saints. If he restructures his deal, they get some more cap movability like they always do, free up cap space and sign Derek Carr. I think they'll be a really good team. So, if I was Derek Carr, I would probably would agree with Corey. I probably would make it to the Saints. Sorry, Craig. Not sorry. It'll give you some competition. Because if you get a good young quarterback, which they say Bryce Young might fall because of size, we'll talk about that probably next week. But they said this quarterback class is good, so we'll see. But I'm leaning toward the Saints. I think the Jets are really anticipating Aaron Rodgers. Because the owners came out and said he wants it. But I'm leaning the Saints. All right, Craig. Derek Carr. I know you don't want the Panthers, but who do you think?
First of all, I don't think Derek Carr is that good. I don't think he's that good.
Out of 32 quarterbacks, he's what?
He's not
16th to 20th.
He's not 32, but he's
average.
Probably in the middle.
Yeah,
probably around that Kirk Cousins, Jimmy.
Give that. I'll give you that.
Kirk Cousins range, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but the Saints, pretty much any team in the NFC South. I would say minus the Panthers, but any other team in the NFC South, yeah, I can see them going to. The Saints and the Bucks have a lot of talent. They're pretty much. I mean, if you're going to say a team is a quarterback away from winning that division, I think both of those teams are probably a quarterback away, just because
I didn't even think about them.
They have a really good defense. They have the Bucks have really good wide receivers. They're going to lose net, but they can get another running back somewhere. They might have a couple on their roster. The Saints, obviously, they have Olave. I don't know what you're going to get. I don't know what Michael Thomas's issue is. I don't know. You can't really trust him.
Just getting hurt a lot. Man.
Alvin Kamara, he has his court case coming up, I guess, or possible suspension coming up. Who knows? But I mean, the Saints have a really good defense. They play in a dome. Tampa Bay plays in Tampa, so I mean, you got two good options there. The Falcons play in the dome as well. They have a lot of cap space. They don't have any receivers on that. I mean, well, that's not true. I'm sorry, I put that back. They got a young tight end in Pitts, and they got a young wide receiver. I can't think of his name. Who was there last year? The rookie. He's on the roster, so they have talent there. If you want to think about that, but I just don't see him going to the Falcons because the Falcons are just. I don't think the Falcons are that good. But if he wanted to get paid,
yeah,
they had the second most cap space, I believe, behind the Bears. So, you want to go that route? I mean, obviously, teams going to make some moves and adjust the dollar amount here and there, but. I mean, already they have like 70 million or something like that. So that's definitely probably intriguing for him. But and you also look at the Jets, like you guys were saying, the Jets have probably the best roster, I think. It's just they play in a tougher conference and a tougher division. And looking at the strength of schedule, the Falcons and the Saints are 32 and 31 respectively, and the Jets are like they had the seventh hardest I mean, this is doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things for the most part. But
yeah,
we saw what happened last year when teams like the Eagles had the easiest and the Cowboys had the easiest. Well, so I mean that could say something, but who knows, man? But I think the Jets would be a really good fit. It's just I don't know if he wants to go do that juggernaut, which is the AFC.
It's a juggernaut, bro.
He's going to have an easier time. He could be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC, even though I really don't think highly of him like that. But he could be one of the best quarterbacks. Go to the NFC just because. I mean, maybe Aaron Rodgers leaves. You're looking at what Jalen Hurts, maybe Dak Prescott is your competition,
and Kirk Cousins.
I mean, there's not a lot out there really. So I would definitely look at the Saints as my number one, and then maybe if the Falcons are interested, but it doesn't. I don't know. They haven't come out yet. But just on top of these three teams, I'm going Saints, Jets, and then the Panthers.
Yeah,
I really don't want them in Carolina, man. I don't. I just want them to reset the whole clock on the quarterback. And
you kind of like what I said. We had this conversation last week. Same thing with the Commanders. It's like we got how. Let's see what we have. If we suck, we're gonna draft you next year. That's just I see what you're saying. You're like, let's see. At this point.
Yeah, might as well. You even have Matt Corral on the team who didn't even play last year. I'm not saying he's going to be great, but I mean, to see Matt Corral. Possibly.
He got hurt in training camp, didn't
he? Yeah, before no, he got hurt in
OTAs or training camp. It was really early. It was really early.
Yeah, he got hurt early, so he didn't even play much, if at all. So I just want to see what happens with the draft and whoever else they got on the roster. I do not want to see Derek Carr in a Carolina uniform. No.
Mo, Derek Carr. 3 teams: Jets, Panthers, Saints. Who do you have him going to?
Right now, I would have said the Jets a while ago, but now just looking at the fact that Jets haven't offered him a contract yet. I mean, what's the hold up? It's not like you got to wait. They can sign him right now. It's like, for me, it's like you're holding out to see something else. No. So I feel like you're waiting because they can sign him right now. Like because of how the Raiders released him, he can get signed right now. So it's not like they got to wait till March to the league year starts. So for a fact that we haven't heard even a contract being offered, I think they're waiting out for Rodgers. They're waiting out to see maybe Lamar. They're waiting out to see what's going on. So the fact that that's going on, now I would say the Saints. I think the Saints would make that move. They would probably get rid of Dalton, maybe cut or release Dalton and make 30 for 30. Jameis Winston, my bad. Jameis Winston, the backup. Make him probably the backup because I think he has 1 more year left on his deal, this 2-year deal that he signed. So I think they'll probably go that route. And you look at Olave's coming along. You got young receivers there. You got you got possible running game there. I think a exciting city to play for. I think he'll go there. Familiarity with Dennis Allen. I think
that's right. God even peeped that.
I think Derek Carr was in. I think Derek Carr was only his 3rd or 4th season when Dennis Allen was there. Yeah. So you had that familiarity. So
didn't even peep that, Mo. That's a good. I didn't even put that together.
I can see him. I can see him going there to New Orleans. Like you said, solid defense. We gotta see what's gonna happen with Kamara. I think some legal stuff going on, but we don't know what's going on with Michael Thomas, but you still got. You still got Olave. You still got they signed somebody else. Who was it? It was Olave. They signed somebody else last season.
Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry. You get somebody in the draft. You always can draft a receiver, to bring in or another free agent if you want to release Thomas or trade him. So I think he can do well there, and that division's wide open. Like that division, you got to throw dots you got to throw dots in the air and see what's going to come with that one. So I think Derek Carr swings the pendulum a little bit on that division right now, to see where it's going to go. So I think it's going to be New Orleans.
All right, we're going to talk about. We're going to lead into this draft. We're going to talk about Justin Fields. We don't know what's going on with him yet, but every indication the Bears are going to trade the number 1 pick. Do I think they should? Yeah, I think they should trade the number 1 pick. The thing is, I don't know. So right now, it's hard to believe anybody, right? Because reports are coming out everywhere. I don't know who to believe at this point in the stage, because every GM's job is to mislead you about what they're doing, especially at the quarterback position in the draft, because Bears have to be like, we love quarterbacks, or now they're saying they've received offers. We don't know if they have yet. I think they are, but who's going to trade them to that quarterback class? Like, the quarterback class is good, but it's not like a Joe Burrow. It's not a Luck. It's not a not even Patrick Mahomes, because he wasn't drafted high. It's not a it's just not a quarterback that everybody is like, look at this. You know, I could say, no, I don't think Deshaun. I could say Deshaun Watson. He was drafted pretty high, right? So, but there's no like clear cut number one. Like, everybody knew Cincinnati wasn't even. Cincinnati told people, we're not even picking up the phone. We're drafting Joe Burrow. We're not even picking up the phone. Post the same thing, Andrew Luck. We're not, just don't pick up the phone. We're taking Luck, right? If there was a quarterback in this draft class, then I think they would trade him. But there's no quarterbacks. It's every quarterback has an issue, right? Bryce Young, size. They say he's highly intelligent, highly competitive, but his size is very concerning to some people, right? And then you got to look at Kyler Murray, but Kyler Murray size his frame is bigger than Bryce Young, right? And he gets hit. He's like, oh, this hurts, right? You got CJ Stroud, where they say that he played different levels during competition. They said that he's very comfortable in the pocket, but is he a true number one? Will Levis, the problem is his turnovers, his indecision-making, which you can work with it. His arm is huge, right? And he lost his top-tier talent. But I was listening to Albert Breer he said that doesn't matter in the NFL because everything changes year to year. Can you keep up with that? Can you overcome the turnovers and decision-making? And we see that is very valuable in the NFL because they're the best at the best in the world of their positions. So if you don't have good accuracy and you turn the ball over, it translates because you don't think that the corner could get to that spot or the deep lineman can't jump up. They'll jump up and pick a ball out of midair. Next thing you know, pick six, right? You got Richardson, who's like everybody says he's Cam Newton with a big arm, but he needs to develop, right? So it's just questions surrounding everybody. I do think they traded. The problem is I don't know how much it's worth. But I do think they trade it and keep Justin Fields. Because if they trade it, keep Justin Fields, and then they suck, they'll just get a quarterback next year. But I just don't. I love this time of year, but almost dislike because we don't know who's being honest, right? It's offers out there for the number one pick, but I think Corey said this 2 weeks ago. Who's going to trade up? There's no number one quarterback. If you stay what you're at, you're going to get the quarterback you like. Houston's going to get a quarterback they like, you know? So that's just my thoughts. I think they should, but I don't know if they're going to get the value. What you think? What's your thoughts, Craig?
I would keep Justin Fields. I think, like, I don't know what you're really expecting from Justin Fields. Like, he doesn't have anybody around it. He doesn't have any wide receivers. His running backs, Montgomery was hurt last year a little bit. Yeah. They traded away their two best defensive players I mean, if you think about it, before that, they let Khalil Mack go. So, like, I mean, I don't know what you're really expecting from the Bears, or what you're expecting from Justin Fields. I wouldn't trade Justin Fields. I probably would trade the first round or the first number 1 overall pick, just because I think you can build on that. Obviously, you can get more picks. You can build on your already number 1 overall cap space that you have and sign players.
Yeah,
that want to try to come there and win in Chicago. Chicago hasn't really had anything positive since. I mean, you got to go back.
The biscuit.
I mean, they had Trubisky. I understand that they went to the playoffs. They could have won that game, but there hasn't really been a good quarterback there in years. So I mean, why not just?
Would you count Jay Cutler as a good quarterback there?
He's their all-time leading passer.
Yeah. Kinda, right?
It's not saying much, man. But
it's not. It's not.
I mean, I would. Okay, good. I wouldn't. Okay, great. Not.
You're talking about Jim McMahon.
He's
God, Craig.
He's not that. Okay, so
that's in the 80s.
They haven't had a great quarterback. I don't think in Chicago franchise football history, Bears history. I guess you want to say that. Great quarterback. So, I think the Bears could just try to build around what they had with Justin Fields. I mean, there's no really reason to move away from him right now when you haven't seen what he can do with somewhat decent, competent receivers around him. I don't understand what the reasoning of that is. And when you can trade out of the number 1 overall pick to get more picks to help the team out, why not just go that route? I mean, the number 1 overall pick has only been traded twice in NFL history. And I mean, one of them produced Michael Vick, the other one produced Jared Goff. Michael Vick, really good quarterback. Jared Goff, his verdict's still out a little bit. He had a really good season last year. So
he needs assistance.
Yeah. I mean,
decent quarterback.
I guess the thing is that
Craig, they had Jim Harbaugh too. I'm looking at their quarterback.
Come on, I said great.
I'm just saying, man. I'm looking at all their
Harbaugh almost got the Colts to a Super Bowl.
I'm looking at all their quarterbacks.
All right, man.
I'm trying to help you out. Yeah, got some bad quarterbacks. Good God.
Yeah. If you're saying Jay Cutler, whatever. Then, and then you had, I guess one of the big downfalls for them is I know they were looking at obviously a defensive player, but with the kid having, what was his name, Carter?
Yeah.
The possible.
Oh man, I was just gonna talk about that. It's a big issue, man.
That's coming up. That could be. Issue. Now you could be obviously looking at me because I think the Cardinals probably are in that position to get a defensive player as well. So now it goes from 2 defensive players to 1. Like now, do you pay and guarantee yourself the kid from Alabama, or do you trade it out, get more picks, but now you're not guaranteeing yourself that defensive player anymore, and you have no clue what's going to happen with Carter with his issues. So I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some other guys that they could take that's going to be worthy of a top 4, top 5 draft selection, but I mean, those 2 guys were clear cut, like the 2 best defensive players for the most part. From what I've been hearing and reading, the 2 best defensive players in the draft, or arguably the 2 best players in the draft. So you kind of have to weigh everything and see how everything works out. But I think I'm going to keep Justin Fields and just try to improve the roster around him.
That Jalen Carter situation is bad, yo.
Yeah, man, that's
real bad. It's crazy.
I don't know, man. It's like
it's real bad.
Alabama, the basketball player, his issue.
Oh man, that's crazy.
It's not the same, obviously, but
I think
having a kid in the spotlight that has potential that might not be able to get a chance because of something crazy he did off the field. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Then they did an introduction, I think, the other night. They did an introduction where like they pretended to do a pat down. I'm like, come on, you cannot be that. I understand it's young kids, but you just can't be that blind to the situation. You thought that was cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mo, what you think about the Bears, man?
This Jalen Carter thing puts a wrinkle into it, but I would trade down.
That looks really
I
bad.
would really look at the board. I would look at the other teams around them in the top 5, and I would trade down enough to where I could still go grab Will Anderson. You don't trade down enough where you possibly lose him. I think they got to get one of them. They can't sit there and trade down then lose Will Anderson, because now where do you go from there? Because now you might as well either trade down, keep trading down and get a tackle, or trade down and get one of these wide receivers, because there's no other defensive player, I think, worth a top 10 pick, if I'm not mistaken. I think these are the only 2 that they're really even putting in the top 10, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't think right now there's another defensive
No, it's a
player.
clear drop off.
Yeah, it's a clear drop off, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I would trade out of it if I can get the right price. And if you can trade out of it, get the right picks, more picks, and still get Will Anderson, I think you do it. I don't trade Fields, because let me just say this right now. With the talent they have around them, nobody's jumping to go to Chicago. You draft a Stroud or Levis or or Bryce Young, you're back in the same we're having the same conversation 2 years from now. Again, we're having the same conversation again. And it's not because these kids are not talented. It's because of what's around them. You like I said, Jalen Hurts is a clear-cut example of this. You cannot just think you're going to put anybody around these quarterbacks and think they're going to turn water into wine. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. It's not fair, and it's not going to happen. So you got to put clear-cut talent around them to give them a fair evaluation of what they can do. And what's around Jalen Hurts right now, I mean, not Jalen Hurts, but what's around Justin Fields right now, you can't really evaluate. It's almost like, I think we've talked about this a number of times. It's almost like Mitchell Trubisky, his first year. We saw what that looked like. They put some talent around him. He went to the playoffs. Now, did he drop off after that? Fair enough. But I'm saying you saw a growth because you saw more talent being put around him to give him a shot to see what really he looked like. Because after his first year, you really couldn't evaluate him. They had nothing there. So I think this is the case where they need to keep Justin Fields. They need to figure out a way to lure some people in free agency, and they need to hit on this draft. They cannot miss on this draft.
Corey, what do you think?
I think that all of the talk a few weeks back of Chicago potentially trading Justin Fields shows just how desperately they want to trade that pick. You don't trade a second round pick for a wide receiver if you're not sold on your quarterback. So the fact that they traded a 2 for Chase Claypool during the season shows that, they think Fields is the guy. They're ready to build around him. So everyone saw right through that whole thing. Everyone knows they weren't trading Justin Fields. And as you touch on, and as I've mentioned before, Chicago is it's a really bad year for Chicago to want to move out of that first pick, because there's a lot of options. And the evaluations on these 4 guys are going to be all over the place for all of the teams near the top. There's a good chance that like the teams that take each of these quarterbacks, that's their number 1 guy. I mean, like there's a chance that, say, the Colts at 4 could have Bryce Young as the 4th quarterback in this draft, whereas Houston may have him as the 1st. It wouldn't surprise me. So that takes away the leverage. I think the Jalen Carter situation definitely. I don't know how much it'll impact the draft. It's a serious situation. It's hard to jump right into draft impact, but it sounds like he's charged with a couple of misdemeanors, essentially fleeing the scene and speeding. It's just that it wasn't just a single car wreck. He was potentially racing the car that wrecked. Well, no, they were racing. And the person he was racing lost control and wrecked.
Was that the teammate?
Yeah. So it's situation that essentially lying about being there and fleeing the scene is what he's getting charged.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it said they're misdemeanors, so it's not nothing that he could go.
They're
to
making it
seem
so ridiculous. I get it; it's a character flaw.
Well, there were questions about
not care about that. Some teams do not care.
There were maturity concerns before this was announced.
Yeah,
and just the fact that it was a situation where somebody died and you lied about it.
It hurts. Yeah,
it could. But it's not something where he could, end up going to jail or prison and miss playing time or something. That's not
there it is. So
But
where do you
it could-
think he falls? Do you think he?
I still think he's a top 5 pick.
I probably agree. Like who?
Some-
Let me look at the draft picks. Let me look at it right now.
Yeah, I think if Chicago takes Anderson, I think Arizona is able to work. A team's going to work through it, and then they're going to be comfortable with taking them. I think Arizona might be in a little bit better situation than Chicago is, honestly. Because if knowing that the evaluations are all over the place, why
Make
not
a
sit
trade.
back, see how the board falls in those first 2 picks? Because if Chicago has to stay put, they're taking probably Will Anderson at this point.
Yeah.
Then Houston's taking a quarterback, and it's okay. See which one they take, and then I
Well,
think
Denver-
Arizona's in the driver's seat because
Seattle
at
the
5.
Colts are taking a guy at 4. So if somebody wants to go up and get ahead of Indianapolis, Arizona's the place to do it now.
With Denver,
Seattle has 5. So if he drops, he's not dropping past Seattle.
no, I think Seattle runs that card up. If Arizona don't get him, if I'm Seattle, I'm running that card up. I wish Will Anderson would be sitting there at 5. I'm running that card up. Like, if I'm Pete Carroll, I'm running that card up. He ain't nothing to think about.
Yeah, that could. Yeah.
I
But
know
then if you
Bears
Arizona-
fans are
But-
all about saying, "Oh, we're going to get multiple first round picks, some second round picks, maybe a player,"
I
and
don't
it's
see it.
it's not happening.
I don't see it, Corey. I agree with you. I don't see
The
it.
one scenario that Chicago has to be desperate to have happen is Indianapolis come calling aggressively, trying to trade to 1, so that they turn around and make a trade with Houston to go up to go back 1 spot.
But you wouldn't give up that much if the Colts won the.
Well,
4
yeah, I think it's if you're Chicago, you hope that you can leverage those 2 teams against each other, especially because they're division rivals. So, but I don't know if they're going to fall in love with the same guy.
Yeah.
And if you're Indianapolis, you have a head coach in Shane Steichen now who has had success with a large variety of styles
Yeah.
because
Herbert
he had Phillip
versus
Rivers.
Hurst. Yep.
Initially, who had a really good year. He had Justin Herbert for his rookie year, and arguably Herbert's best season as a pro already.
Mhm.
And then he had Jalen Hurts. And I don't know if you have more of a polar opposite of player than Jalen Hurts and Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
So I think the Colts are in a situation where you sit back, you're going to get one of the top 4. And as long as you don't look at those guys and say, we only like one of them, you let the board fall.
Yeah.
You save the picks.
I think so. Because you could get ranging from Levis to Stroud. You're gonna have your pick. I don't think will a team trade Arizona to jump. Even so, you're still in a good position to get a quarterback that's on your board.
Oh yeah, and I think a team like if you're Indianapolis, honestly, I think there's a chance that I think there's a better chance the Colts trade up 1 spot with Arizona than 3 spots with Chicago, because I do think there's a legitimate chance that the Cardinals and their needs and knowing they're essentially redshirting or potentially redshirting this year with their quarterback potentially not being ready to start the year, that the Raiders could move up or the Panthers could move up with the Cardinals to go after somebody.
Yeah.
So if you're Arizona, just be like, hey, Indy, we've got a call. Do you want to come get your guy? And I think that's more reasonable. And because if you're Arizona, you move back 1, you get
still top 5,
a couple of 3rd-round picks or something to move back 1 spot. And then you turn around, you can still trade back with either the Raiders or Panthers who want to go up and get the next quarterback.
Yeah.
It's rough. I mean, it's rough for Chicago because if you look at it, with the Jada Carter situation throws it in a situation. Because do you trade down past Arizona? Because if you're Arizona, I would get Will Anderson. If I'm sitting right there at 3, I'm gonna get Will Anderson. So do you trade behind Arizona now? And what do you have? Because if you're not gonna get Jalen Carter, what do you get right there? If you're not gonna get a quarterback, that means now you're gonna keep trading down because either you're gonna get an offensive tackle now or a receiver. Because what else is up there that's worth that high of a pick? That's not a quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now they're in the trick bag kind of now, but especially the Jalen Carter situation.
I think Chicago is kind of also in a situation where you traded Roquan Smith, who was essentially your lone difference maker on defense.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get a building block for that defense, like a legit stud.
Yeah.
And so you've got to walk away with either Carter or Anderson in this draft. And if you have to do that, you can't go beyond 4.
No,
not at all.
Period.
Not at all. Not at all.
No. Mm-mm. They're comparing Jalen Carter to Aiden Hutchinson.
No.
Like they were like he's his will. They say he's stiff. This is what they say, he's stiff, but his will to overpower is unfathomable. And we all saw. Listen, if I was a GM, I'm a big game film, right? I don't look at the combine. I don't look at somebody's potential, which is weird, right? I wouldn't have drafted Trayvon Walker if I was Jacksonville. I would probably drafted Agent Hutchinson because I'm looking at game film versus what you potentially can do. And I get it. He could be a beast, but I like game film in and out. That's just me.
This is me biased by liking these quarterbacks. I pray Bryce Young doesn't go to Houston.
You said Bryce Young don't go to Houston?
I pray he doesn't. I'm just that's my favorite quarterback in this draft. I just love the kid's intangibles. I've seen 1,000 Alabama games. I just love the dude. I don't care about. I mean, I understand the size and all that matters, but man, I'm from the old school of if you can play this game and you can't. The dude can play.
He can
play. I get it.
He can't stay on the field. He can't play.
I get it. But I'd rather not see him in Houston. Now, I'll say this. In Houston, he's going to become another Justin Fields. He's going to be running for his life. His stats going to look crazy because of he's going to be running for his life.
They got a lot of draft picks, though.
They do, but I don't know. I'm about to see.
They got hit on them. They got some picks.
I mean, they got a rookie running back, dude. The running back they had last year, I like him. Dude was running.
Yeah, they got it.
Yeah.
You know,
I think if you're Indianapolis, I think you can get CJ Stroud at 4. And I think I
like CJ Stroud, yo.
Yeah. The way the Colts are built, you've got a running back and you've got 2 wide receivers that can go get jump balls, and Stroud has phenomenal accuracy and ball placement. And I think he could fit what they have already. I
think that's who you're going to go for. I do too. I think that's who you're going to go for, especially with the new head coach you hired. I think I like Stroud. Man. I like Bryce Young.
If he was bigger, he would be the unquestioned number 1 pick. But the size concerns, it's not just his height. It's his build, because Russell Wilson was short, Drew Brees was short, Kyler's short, but they're
baseball
guys.
players. Guys.
They've got some muscle to them, and Bryce is pretty slim.
Yeah, they said if he was anywhere between 200 and
if he was
205, they was like unquestionable number 1 pick.
If he was Russell Wilson's size, or if he was Kyler Murray's size, or if he was CJ Stroud's size, there would be the number 1 pick would be on the board.
Yeah.
Somebody
you would see 3 first.
Yeah.
Plus involved in that trade.
Yeah. People are trading for it.
Where Craig at? Hey, Craig, North Carolina. I mean, Maryland playing in North Carolina right now, man. It irritates me. They play Ohio State over here getting railroaded over here and let Ohio State play with you. Come on, man.
Look, man. I mean, Bryce Young, he's like 195?
Something like that. 190, 195, something like that. Yeah, 180. I don't know.
If he's 190,
I think he's trying to put on weight right now.
Right. If you mean to tell me you can't put on 10 to 15 pounds,
he's trying to right now. Yeah.
If you're telling me that's going to be the reason why,
if
he's the best quarterback in the draft, just because he's 195 and he can get to 210. I think he can get to 205 at least.
Yeah, I thought like 180 was his playing size though.
I think it.
Did y'all hit a knock on Stroud though?
ESPN says 195, 194.
Yeah, that's what it says. I think he's trying to get to 2. I think he's trying to get to 2. Yeah.
This is back in Alabama.
Yeah, I think he's trying to put on weight to get to that 2. I think he's trying to put on 15 pounds of muscle. I think.
All of them throwing
I think.
Saturday.
If he wants to be up there as a,
Yeah, if he wants to be up there, he's trying, but he's gonna put on weight.
Is all of them throwing Saturday? I know Levis is throwing Saturday. I know
everyone but Young is throwing.
But Young, yeah.
Okay.
Everybody but Young. He's trying to put
I
on
knew
weight.
3 of them was throwing. Yeah, I knew a couple of them was throwing.
Yeah, he's trying to put on weight. I think Houston probably goes with him. I think he'll do bomb in Houston, but I like him. But last thing. This is actually, Craig. I believe this. You said this, Craig. We were talking about the XFL off camera. The NFL competition committee held its first day of the meetings, and what was on the board was switching the onside kick to 4th and 15, and a team would have a single play to pick up 15 yards instead of a traditional onside kick, and allowing a team to dress a third quarterback for emergency use, and roughing the passer is a reviewable penalty. These are all things that are on the board. I know that you mentioned this, though. You said, I would like the NFL to incorporate the 4th and 15. What's your thoughts on that? Would you like to see it?
I would like to see a team try to go for 4th and 15 to get to get the ball back instead of
it's hard. 4th and 15 is hard.
4th and 15 is hard. I think an onside kick is hard. I don't think the recovery rate of getting an onside kick is high.
No, I think it's like 3%.
So it's pretty low. So I would take my chances. I would assume that going on 4th and 15 is higher than going for, because you got to think that you can get a pass interference, you can get a holding, that's automatic down as well. You can get a roughing the passer. You can maybe make the defense jump or something like that. So it's a bunch of stuff that works for the offense that doesn't work for the defense like it did back in the 90s and 80s and things like that. So
interesting.
Now you have your options, but trying to get an onside kick, man, it's just not there. Like I mean, it gets
not there.
Excited because you know it's coming, but as far as it getting converted, it just doesn't happen too often. So I'm cool with the 4th and 15 to get the ball back. I don't mind that at all. The other rules, like the emergency quarterback is pretty much the San Francisco 49ers rule, basically. Yeah. I'm cool with that too.
Me too.
As long as it doesn't, I guess I don't know how they're going to do it. If
maybe they keep an open roster spot.
50.
That's the only thing I can say. I don't know.
I don't know how they would try to do that. I don't know if they would expand it to 54 or if they would just keep it 53, like you said, have an open spot or something like that, or just not count the extra quarterback against it. I don't know, just for emergency purposes. Because I mean, if your emergency quarterback for the 49ers was your fullback,
that's crazy.
That's wild to me. I mean, it's hard to, I guess, see 2 quarterbacks going down in the same game, especially if you don't have a third ready. But I mean, just you see what happened last year, and it changed how that whole game could have been.
Because I could see NFL teams keep it 3 quarter. Like I could see some teams keep it 3 quarterbacks.
If they had a competent, I could see it too. If they got a competent third or whatever it is, then I could understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one about roughing the passer getting reviewed.
Yeah,
roughing the passer is such a stupid penalty nowadays anyway.
It's kind of crazy. It's getting out of control a little bit.
It's all kind of, sometimes it's just subjective as to how the quarterback got tackled, how the defender landed on him. Sometimes they have nowhere else to go. This guy, the defender's close to 300 pounds and he's running at you full speed. It's hard for him to stop. It's hard for him not to land on top of you if he sacks you. I don't know what they pretty much hampered all the defenders. And I like offense, but I mean they pretty much hampered all the defenses in the NFL. Like you can't really do too much, especially when you're trying to sack or tackle a quarterback. It could be the worst quarterback in the league, or it could be a guy like Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, yeah.
It is. I mean, it's the league is soft, man. Like I'm not saying it's soft, but I mean compared to how it was back in the day, I guess.
I understand. We understand. It was
It's different. It's different ways that the game is officiated nowadays. So if you want to take a look at it, it's going to slow the game down even more. But
I'm not gonna lie. I did read. It does say early indication is little appetite in the room for making it reviewable.
I wouldn't mind it just because some of these calls, man, like they can swing a game here or there, left or right. It just how the referee kind of interprets some of these calls. Like we've seen some calls that look like roughing the passer and they're not, or you see calls that are roughing the passer and it's like, or vice versa. So it just depends on how the situation is. Like I said 2 weeks ago, I wish they would take out the 5-yard penalty thing. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Instead of the automatic first down, just make it a 5-yard.
Just make it a 5-yard penalty, man. Just do that and keep it moving.
Which is still a benefit. It's still a huge
It's a benefit, but I mean, it's not like you're converting a 3rd and 18, or 4th and 18, and all of a sudden now you get a first down because you got a 5-yard holding penalty, and it's automatic. Just make it 4th and 13. Give them
just like encroaching, just like offsides.
Yeah,
all 5 yards. Replay the down.
Yeah, keep it moving, and then I wish they would look at that, but I'm for all these other ones that you just talked about.
Yeah. All right, Mo, what you think, man? What do you think about the 4th and 15 instead of the onside?
I like it, but where was you? So my question would be, if the team gets it, the 4th and 15,
they
keep
get going,
the 15, they keep going. So wherever they go, but I'm saying, where does the ball get placed at? They say, okay, we scored, we're going for the 4th and 15. Is the ball being placed off at where the kickoff would be? And then they go on 4th and 15?
I think it would be like, so say I'm thinking it's like, instead of, that's a good question. They'll probably place it at the 35.
Because my question is, if let's say for instance, you just scored, right?
Yeah.
You just scored a touchdown, you down 4, whatever. You about to kick the onside. I feel like your 4th 15 should be from where you brought the kick for a nigga. Initially, if that's what you're going for.
Where's the onside kick? Is it the 40?
No, it's where the kickoff is, right? Even if you want the onside, the ball.
Where's the kickoff usually at?
I think 35, 40.
35, yeah.
Yeah, so I think your 4th 15 should be from right there then. You shouldn't be able to pick where you're going to do your 4th 15 at.
Nah, they ain't gonna let you pick.
That's a good point, Mo. Because
they can't let you pick.
What if they score off of the 4th and 15? What if they score a touchdown? Is it just we're going to just give you the ball at the 40?
It's not verbal. It's not verbal for that. Yeah,
hold on.
It's a touchdown. Like I don't know.
So hold on. Wait. Hold on.
I'm confused.
You saying
I just Mo brought up a good point. I don't. That's weird. Well, go ahead.
Wait. Hold on, Mo. So you're saying if they score a touchdown?
Now Craig said that. I was saying, where would that 4th 15 start at? Where you're going to do the kickoff at? Because of course you can't pick where you about to go 4th 15 at.
No, they'll probably do it from the kickoff.
Yeah. So my thing is, like Craig was just saying, what if they score though? Like, where you go 4th 15, you score. Is that you get a touchdown or just counts?
Yeah, I think it's a touchdown. I don't think you can do 2 onside kicks in a row.
It would be the same as a kickoff being returned for a touchdown.
Oh man, that's gonna be interesting. If they make it like that, it's a lot of verbal. It wouldn't be very clear on how it would roll. Because you said
it'd be the same as like the team returning an onside kick for a touchdown. It would work the exact same way.
That's not.
But I thought on an onside kick though you can't advance.
You can.
No, you can't. Oh,
yeah, I thought it's a live
because I've seen it's like bad onside kicks.
Straight live ball.
No, I'm talking about the kicking team though. The kicking team can't return a touchdown.
Oh, that's potentially, but it would be, instead of a kickoff, it would be 4th and 15 for your offense. If you convert, you keep the ball and you keep driving. So it would be the same as any other 4th down play.
That's gonna be interesting.
Well, this is why they gotta work it out.
Yeah, they definitely got to work it out. What's the other one? I'm good with the third. I'm good with the third quarterback, the emergency. I'm good with that. I'm definitely good for them reviewing the personal foul penalty. I'm just because you don't get it right, and we seen. Now for everybody who wants to boo that Kansas City game, that was a personal foul. Mahomes was clearly past the white. He was clearly out of bounds. Like, I understand some people are upset about that. Let's not. He was out of bounds. I watched that. I watched it probably 10 times since that game. And every time I look at it, I stop and look at it, and I'm like, yeah, he was clearly out of bounds. Like, you can't make that play. You can't hit him. It's just not going. That's not going to fly. I think any quarterback will get that call. I don't think that was a Mahomes call. I think any quarterback would have got that call. I think Allen would have got that call. I think Burrow would have got that call. Any quarterback would have got that call. But I think it does need to be reviewed because we've seen 1,000 times where a quarterback pulls an acting job or, you know what I'm saying, where it's a regular sack, but because, you know, ref maybe not got the best view of it, they call a flag. I think it does need to be reviewed. You know, if they're reviewing everything else, might as well review this.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's eventually going to go to that. Corey, what do you think? You okay with the 3?
I think I'll start off. I think the emergency quarterback one will happen. I think the NFL absolutely wants to avoid an NFC championship game scenario again where you don't have an actual quarterback on the field.
Yeah.
I think the most logical way to do it would be your practice squad quarterback can dress and can go in for an emergency situation on game day. And then maybe throw in something that if that player comes into the game, then the starting quarterback is just ineligible to come back, period.
Okay.
You have to have, obviously you put something like that in there, but yeah, let there be a third quarterback because that sucked. Like the 49ers not having a quarterback on the field, it sucked.
It hurt me.
And that important.
I know it hurt them.
It's something that it's who knows if it'll happen again, but just change the rule, let it happen, whatever. And I think it will, because that's just a bad product and the NFL wants to avoid that. I think the 4th and 15 should probably happen. The rule changes on kickoffs have made the onside kick a fluke at this point. Like the success rate has plummeted and it's not exciting. My only caveat there is that I then don't want to turn around and see 4th and 15 and teams just start throwing up jump balls to get DPI calls to get the first down.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be equally frustrating the other way. So I don't know if you put in a caveat that one defensive penalty can't give a first down right away, like you would need to do a second play or something, or how you navigate that. But
that's interesting. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I would hate to see, the 4th and 15 and then a 5-yard holding penalty give the first down, or it's a jump balls, bad defensive or bad pass interference flags, and that become a problem then as well.
They need to replay it.
Yeah,
that's what they need to do. Yeah.
If there's a defensive penalty like that, then just retry redo the try. So when we say reviewing roughing the passer, what do they mean? Do they mean making it where you can throw the challenge flag? Because I am 100% against that, because I think it's going to go as poorly as when they made pass interference reviewable. There's a reason that test lasted one season and they scrapped it. What I think they should implement is letting the box do the quick calls on it. So how you have,
is that New York?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like how you have New York be able to call down to the officials and and if they miss something, just like, hey, this is what it should be, move it along. I think you should let New York call and either be, hey, you missed a really bad roughing the passer call, go ahead and throw that flag real quick, or hey, that flag you just threw, it's a weak call, pick it up.
Yeah,
I think they should allow that. I think would help make a better product. Because that's the stuff is bang at full speed. It may look a lot worse than what it actually is, or the official just may be looking at something else and not see the penalties or somehow. So if by reviewing roughing you leave New York the ability to call down to the officials and adjust the call, I'm for that. But if you make it reviewable with the challenge flag, it's it's going to slow down the game. It's going to cause problems. It's not going to work, and it's going to get scrapped after a year, just like the pass interference.
Yeah. Okay. I hope they do the 4th and 15. I think here's one thing that we all know this NFL is good at. Remember when extra points were like gimmies? They're not gimmies anymore. So I think that they're not. That's what could change the game. But it's not an easy field goal. It used to be a chip shot. Now it's like, well, wait a minute, I'm kicking a 35-yard field goal. It's not easy, right? Some teams go for 2 more. They go for 2 more because of that, right? I think this is definitely in the cards. I think they definitely should do it. I do think it's going to have to be some rules around it. I don't want it, like Craig said, I don't want a holding call. Corey said the same thing. I don't want a holding call. To be like, all right, now it's a first down. It's like, no, that's not the point. And Mo, this is what you were saying. The kicking team on the onside kick, if they recover, that's where it's down. They can't go score a touchdown. It's down at that point. So I think you were saying is if 4th and 15, what if they get a touchdown on that? Then they might count it because it's 4th and 15. But I know one thing. It's really hard to get a 4-15 in the NFL, though.
It is, but I'm saying
really difficult.
If you're counting that as a replacement for an onside kick, I mean, I guess.
Do you think after they get the 15 yards, they stop?
Yeah, because I don't know if that's where I don't know if owners are going to agree to that. I don't know if owners. You got to trust your defense.
If you throw a 20-yard out and Kelsey
and they go for a touchdown on 4-15, that should have been an onside kick. Now you lose the game because they get that 7 points. They get their 6 points. I don't know if owners are going to agree.
It's hard to get.
I don't know
15.
I don't know if they're going to get enough owners to agree to that now. Especially if you add that caveat into it.
So you're saying you want it to be kind of like how you want it to be like they go for it, and then if they get 16 yards,
can't get a touchdown out.
You can't get a touchdown out of it.
But then again, here goes the also thing of it. Let's say you only down 2, and on that 4th 15, you get a field goal range, and you win the game on a field goal. It's kind of the same thing. So I'm kind of seeing because of those caveats, it's a whole lot of X factors to this to see if the owners are going to agree to this, because they're going to be like, well, hold up. I could vote against this. Now you got to kick the onside kick and lose, or now we in an anything can happen type of thing in the 4th 15. Somebody can fall, anything can happen 4th 15.
It's gonna make the game better. It's gonna make the game better. I do agree with the quarterback, right? The emergency quarterback. I do agree with Corey with the reviewable. Also, I think they're gonna start making more calls go to New York. Anyway, I think they should do that for a lot of calls. Not saying the refs aren't valuable. I know they work hard. They're NFL refs. They see things live. We don't see, but I think a lot should kind of be left up, especially in the playoffs, 2 minutes of the game. I think New York should be reviewing some of these because, humans aren't perfect, But Craig, going back to what Mo said, what do you think about that? Do you think if you go for it on 4th and 15 instead of the onside, and you get the touchdown on 4th and 15, DJ Moore scores a deep pass, no penalty, does the game end right there? Or he gets 16, you have to go. It's kind of hard when you have to tell a team you have to go for 15,
That's what I was saying. Like if they score a touchdown, like say the guy gets beat on a double move and all of a sudden down the field.
You let it go?
You know ahead of time that, and this are the rules that regardless of what happens, whether you get a touchdown, whether you get
catch it, that's
5 yards. Yeah, whether you get 25 yards, we're only going to advance you 15 yards, and it's automatic, and then it's a first down at that point.
Which makes
It doesn't matter what happens with the. I mean, if you get beat and the defender falls or it's just blown coverage, and the guy
as soon as you catch it, bam.
You got 15, or you got 30,
15 yards,
37 yards. We're just gonna give you 15. That's all.
We'll give you 15.
Cool.
Yeah,
So start from there. So
I get it. I see what Mo's saying. Yeah.
Then I mean I can understand it.
Because that would change it if you could just go score. Because teams are just going to bomb it.
I mean,
looking for the pass interference.
You could do a lot of different things. You could. I mean, it's 4-15. I mean, the playbook's got to be obviously as a pass, but You could just do a double move. You could do a couple things, and then the defender gets beat, and then he's gone.
I kind of like that. After they catch it, you just advance 15 yards. You get the first down, and it resets.
It'll
everything.
Make the game more exciting, obviously.
Yeah.
You never know what could happen on the 4th and 15.
Yeah.
But if you're a defender, I guess you could say, well, you got to stop them or whatever it is. But you just let up. You just gave them a touchdown, or whatever, a field goal, whatever they went.
Yeah.
So now they're going to get the ball back to try to duplicate that or whatever. Are you tired at this point? Like, if you gave up a long 17 or say 13 play drive that went 94 yards, and you gave up a touchdown, you got to come back out there and now defend again for 4th and 15.
Jeez, that's tough.
I mean, and then if they do get it, you're out there again. You get your defense is getting no breaks, and defense already doesn't
get no breaks.
Any type of good calls anyway. They don't. I mean, it's all offense for the most part. So you're going to be out there back-to-back drives, possibly.
I mean, if a team gets an onside kick, though, the special teams is out there one play, and the defense is right back.
I get it. It's just it seems like to me it's more rare to get an onside kick than it is to get.
I think this gives
all the different. I'm sorry.
I think the 4th and 15 gives a more of a realistic chance for a team to get 2 scores late, because the onside kick in today's with the rule changes that have happened the last 5 years, it's borderline impossible. So if you get up 2 scores towards the end of the game, it's basically game over.
Yeah. So Corey, do you agree with Craig and Mo where if you go for it on onside kick and it's 4th and 15, Jamar Chase goes on a double move, beats it, or Alex Pierce with the Colts, or DJ Moore, or Terry McLaurin, and they beat it, they score a touchdown. The refs say, nope, first down.
I think only advance
15 yards.
But you would know that ahead of time.
If you do that, I think
teams would know it.
You do an untimed down for the 4th and 15 play, and then you give them the ball wherever. But I think it's just you set the ball the 35, wherever you would be kicking off from. Say it's 4th and 15, offense has the ball. You don't convert, incompletion, whatever. The other team's taking over at that spot. Woo! If you convert, you keep going. And it's just...
Yeah. That's going to be tough, man, because if you don't convert, the other team is going to score. That's the risk.
Yeah,
that's tough field position.
But if you don't get the onside kick, it's comparable field position when you don't pick up that onside kick.
Exactly.
Yeah, but where do you get the ball? Say you kick an onside kick. I don't know where they kick off from.
I think it's a 35.
It's 35. Those 10 yards. It goes 10 yards.
Push the ball at the 35 if you don't convert, or would you push it back 10 yards, 15 yards to the 45 or the 50?
I would say if you don't convert, the other team takes over at the 35.
Yeah, that's a gamble.
That's gambling.
That's a big gamble, yo. That's prime time. If we don't get this, the game is over.
So this is not the variable.
But look how exciting that is, though.
Is this?
I would rather see that than the onside kick. And this is what NFL coaches are going to be thinking. Do we go for it? Because if we don't get it.
I mean, you have no choice, but not saying you don't have. If it's 30 seconds left and you're down, you're gonna have to go to. I would love it.
It's a lot of variables to this too, because what if the defense picks it off? Do they get a chance to return it for a touchdown? Or
absolutely.
I think so.
I think it's alive.
It's gonna be good. I think it's a straight gamble. If you get a sack or a fumble. I think it has to be like that.
Hold on.
We gotta go hard here.
Hold on. You mean it? Hold on. This makes no sense. If you're the offense and it's 4th and 15 and you score a touchdown off of this 4th and 15, you're not going to count the touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Or are you going to count the touchdown?
I don't know. That's we debate.
That's what I'm saying. If you don't count the touchdown on that, there's no reason to count the touchdown on the
Corey. I think Corey said you count the touchdown.
I would count
it. Corey says count it.
Okay, if they count it, then I can understand you count it.
Yeah, I think I see what he said.
But if they don't count it, you can. I don't think you can.
No, so if they don't count it touchdown, I get what you're saying. if they don't count a touchdown, and if it's a pick or a fumble, it's kind of like an onside kick where it's like.
Well, so
I don't know if you can count it. I really don't.
it sounds like the debate is essentially either you put the offense at the 35 and it's 4th down, that's where the drive starts, or you're treating it like a 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
Where it's one play to get 15 yards, and then if you convert the 15, you reset at the 35 or the 40 or 50 or wherever, and then the offense takes over from there.
If a team picks it off a fumble, it's.
I just think if
you just start over, you start over.
Nah, you.
It's kind of like an onside. It's kind of like a 2-point conversion.
It would have to be a 2-point, like essentially like a 2-point play, an untimed down, and then.
Yeah,
I think that could work too.
Because if they get a pick 6, it's like whoop, 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 whoop.
Right.
I think now you start from the 35 because it's just like a.
Yeah, but if they get a pick 6 for a 2-point conversion, they can run that back and get 2 points.
Yep.
Yeah, they could.
I think
this is going to be a very interesting conversation with the competition committee. I want to see how they scope.
If you change it, I think you got to make it live. If you allow a team to go 4-15 on a 4-15 play, I think you got to make it live, but you got to make it live across the board. So if that defense,
I agree with that.
They can return it. If they get a pick, they can return it.
Oh
man, you gotta make everything all go.
It's going to be interesting if they do it where it's you don't score on the offense and then you don't score on the defense, or they're saying it's live. That's going to be a very interesting conversation. I would rather it be live. I would rather it be live.
Can you imagine looking at the D coordinator? Can you imagine the D coordinator, the head coach looking at the D coordinator? They give him a 4-15 for you to put a team in field goal position, or if you give him a 4-15 touchdown, they give him a touchdown on 4-15
or a pick 6. Come on, man, make it live. I like disruption.
I said honestly, you get to 30 seconds left in the ball game, your team scores a touchdown. Say the Chiefs score a touchdown. Would you rather have Lawrence or who's their kicker? Not Lawrence Tynes.
The Chiefs kicker?
Harrison Buckner.
Bucker. Would you have Bucker deciding the football game, or would you rather have Patrick Mahomes deciding the football game? I'd rather watch Patrick Mahomes on a 4th and 15 decide that football game.
Yeah, I would like it live. I'm not gonna lie. If they think about it, implement it, because I think that if Craig, don't get me wrong, XFL is live, right?
I think I don't know how they do their onside, but I've seen how they do their kickoffs. It's weird.
Yeah, they said they want to make sure everybody returns it or something. Yeah, that's what I was watching.
Well, I mean,
4th and 15. Have you seen the 4th and 15?
I haven't seen it. I've only watched like one game and maybe 2, but I just saw kickoffs, and that was a weird thing to watch. But
people say it's a tough watch. Saying the quarterback,
it's not bad. It's football. It's just you don't know the players, and it's a different set of rules, and it's different. That's pretty much it. It's like the USFL. I mean, some people might have football fatigue. I can understand that, but
because then after this, you got the USFL, right?
Yeah, it's just something else that's on. It's football. Some players are recognized. Some people are recognized out there, but I don't know. It's not bad.
All right, guys, we end this live.